I do think that we should jump back into reality real quick for an investment that I've been recommending for a very, very long time now. And frankly, I'm teetering on the edge of selling this investment myself. And this is ultimately gold. What are your thoughts about investing or selling in gold now that the central banks, a ton of central banks, are selling it?
So I'm looking at the gold price right now. I mean, yeah, it's coming down a little bit. I mean, I guess the question is ultimately whenever you can see inflation, right? Because everyone talks about the massive amounts of money all these central banks are printing, and yeah, that's well known.
Mm-hmm.
But the issue is that people aren't really spending that money. I mean, that money's frankly going into many of the capital markets, whether it's debt or equity or other types. As you can see with the massive, rallies in pretty much every single type of asset class.
Yeah.
It's not obvious that people are buying more, Chips Ahoy crackers. The goal of all this, right, this money is pumped, and then companies can borrow at lower rates. Companies use those additional funds to then open new factories, employ more people. Those people then buy more crap, buy more cars, buy more houses, and that creates, demand for more cookies, more factories, more hammers, and all that stuff, and ultimately the hypothetical velocity of money and blah blah blah.
Mm-hmm.
That's not happening.
Right.
All this is like just inflating the richest of the people, i.e. the people that own equity and pay the least in taxes.
Yeah.
So right now, I mean, the target for inflation, let's say for the U.S. Fed, is like 2%, right? And we're still not there yet from my understanding, from their estimates. So until we see, companies actually hire more people and doing stuff, there's not inflation, in which case, really what's the point in owning gold? But the thesis that everyone keeps saying is that there is this inflation. In reality, there isn't. So I don't understand how to reconcile that dichotomy. That said, I wouldn't be perhaps 100% all in on gold or anything like that, but I think gold can be a good hedge because you never know when inflation is going to eventually ramp back up, and maybe that's going to be after, let's say 2024 or 2025 or whenever they stop printing as much money, and then somehow, the economy recovers in terms of the real economy, not the market economy, and then people, upgrade the car from a Honda Civic to, a Toyota Camry or something like that, and people spend just a bit more on, instead of going to Red Lobster, they go to a more gourmet seafood restaurant, and that restaurant can hire more people. Like, that's what really needs to happen rather than Amazon stock going up.
Interesting. So what you're basically saying, as I understand it, is that instead of people spending it on physical goods, they're investing it, and as a consequence, that is actually not creating inflation.
Yes.
But
to the extent that people that can invest are investing in it.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly. And the people that can't invest in this market, I mean, they're probably unemployed, unfortunately, and perhaps even in worse situations.
Yeah.
And they're unfortunately not able to save. So I'm a full believer in this K-shaped recovery where, unfortunately, like let's say half or whatever the percentages of the economy is doing worse than it ever did before.
Yeah.
And those are the real people that, are the source of inflation, which is a good thing because, you upgrade and you have a better lifestyle and things like that, which is what this country the vision of this country is built upon. Versus, Jeff Bezos, cool, he added $50 billion of valuation to his own net worth. There is a zero velocity to that money. That money does not get redeployed in the economy whatsoever. And obviously that's market cap. It's not the exact same thing as income. That's where inflation, the hypothetical goal of inflation gets stuck because there's zero velocity to most of this investment so far rather than purchasing.
That is fascinating. I never thought about it that way. That is frick.
I mean, he could buy more Chips Ahoy, perhaps. We should all tell him to.
Wow. God damn. Because, one of my examples in my gold video is, talking about inflation is kind of what you're saying. If I offer to buy a pair of shoes for $10 and then I actually go behind your back and I print some money and pay you with that money, eventually you're going to start charging your shoes for more because there's more money in the market. But if no one's actually buying shoes and I'm just throwing it into the stock market, then I can see how that's problematic. Man, that's freaking stupid. Oh, man, that sucks. Okay. Can you entertain me this though? Like, why is the central bank starting to sell gold? I know the public comment is that gold is incredibly high in value right now, and they're trying to, make some money. But is that actually what's happening?
That's a very good question. So I'm looking at the article right now, and it was selling was driven by, and I don't know if this article is correct. Selling was driven by Uzbekistan and Turkey, while Russia's central bank posted its first quarter sale in 13 years.
Yeah,
I don't know.
that's what I read too.
Might be random. I'm not exactly sure. I mean, I would suspect this, right? Like, if they have local economies, and I don't know Turkey well, and I don't know Uzbekistan well. In Russia, sort of might make sense, but like oil is coming down a lot, right? Oil.
Yeah.
Let's see. Okay, so oil's trading at 35 in terms of WTI, and oil's trading at 36 with Brent. So if you look at Brent, for example, which is the international standard, it's incredibly low, right? So what that means is if your local economy, and I don't know Turkey or Uzbekistan, but Russia is like somewhat dependent upon oil, right? And you can Google this really easily in terms of like Russia's break-even price in terms of oil. Russia's literally in OPEC plus, which is like the OPEC countries plus Russia.
Yeah.
But the point there is like below a certain price of oil, then the budget of the government is no longer balanced. And what that means is you need to start selling assets in order to fund that shortfall. So let's say you allocated $500 billion to build new roads or fix new roads or build new bridges this year.
Oh, I see where you're going with this.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So Iran and Venezuela and some of these other countries are really good examples where actually I'm not sure about Iran. Venezuela, I believe, is a good example where their cost to extract is decently high. So once oil goes below a certain point, it actually has a really big impact on them. Versus in like let's say Saudi Arabia, due to slave labor, the cost to extract oil is like $3, so it's cheapest in the world.
Yeah.
Russia, you can Google very easily. I don't remember what the number is, but I would expect the current price of like $35 to probably be pretty painful for them.
Yeah.
So it would not be surprising to me that they're selling gold in order to kind of fund some of the shortfalls in their budget for now.
And you're also, and I'm just basing on top of my head, right? Like a lot of the Russian oil companies are state owned, right?
True, they're state-owned, but they're also publicly traded. So it's very, very, very similar to the Chinese model. Basically, they have the equivalent of, there's like Gazprom and all the other ones. Same idea in China with Sinopec and all the other ones.
Yeah. So I guess my interpretation of what you're saying is that because they're state-owned, the government needs to create money for the assets that they own, that the assets are losing money on. And so that's why the central bank is selling gold. Is that about right?
It's not just on that company perspective. I would say it's so if you think about it another way, let's say Gazprom and everybody else similar to them is not making as much profits, in which case the income to the government, let's say the taxes,
I see.
or maybe because their state-owned enterprise is really just the net income is less than before, and therefore the government's coffers that come from those funds are less than before. So instead of Gazprom, I'm just going to make the numbers. Instead of Gazprom making $100 billion of profit, they're going to make $30 billion. Those are 100% raw numbers. Then that means like, Putin or whoever is going to be like, oh shoot, we're short, $70 billion, and where are we going to get that? Well, maybe you can fund with debt, but I'm not sure what Russia's debt rating is. It might be high. Wouldn't be surprised if it was low. There's limited other kind of businesses where you can get tremendous leverage in terms of juicing cash out, and gold is a really easy way to get assets. You don't need a negotiation or anything, just literally the price. Versus if you try to sell like a massive stake in one of these state-owned enterprises, it would require a lot of negotiation. It just takes way super long if you ever wanted to do that in the first place.
Got it. So essentially, if you're a country that is oil rich and dependent on that tax revenue, and furthermore, if you're like your oil business are state owned, then you're like doubly fucked. Man, this is okay. That makes a lot of sense. That is horrific. Now that I'm thinking about it, yeah, that's probably a red flag for a lot of people. This is like really valuable information. That's a very valid, rational interpretation. Man,
you guys can actually look up break-even prices by countries, just like type like break-even prices of OPEC producing countries, OPEC plus, and you get like break-even price.
dude, now I'm super scared about the world economy if this shit is going on. Jesus. Okay. Wow. Whew. Like, that actually. Okay. Okay. All right, John.
4-3. Don't worry. It's all good.
Yeah, I don't know why, but like this particular news is like making me super super concerned about everything now. Okay.
Well, we don't live in Russia, so I think we're gonna be okay. Like, we don't really live in we live in Texas or Oklahoma, so less exposure to fracking economies.
Yeah. Woof. Wow. All right, John. As always, thanks for your time. Insightful as always. I think I'm gonna break this up into 2 videos, but this is really awesome content. Thanks, John.
Yep.
Have a good night.
Thank you. Take care.
All right, see you, man.
Bye.